Good evening, I'm Ryan Benazzo. Thank you very much for joining us. Some light rainfall is helping to keep wildfires away from the evacuated communities of Deer Lake and Poplar Hill First Nations, but fire officials say the threat isn't over. Meanwhile, some area NDP members are calling for more aid from the province and demanding that Doug Ford declare a state of emergency. Corey Nordstrom has more.
31 new forest fires brings the active total to 161 in the Northwest region. Scattered showers in the area, particularly near Deer Lake and Poplar Hill, have put a brief halt to fires encroaching those communities. But the rain isn't expected to stick around, and much of the region is still under high danger ratings, especially closer to Thunder Bay, which has yet to see significant rainfall assistance.
We expect those fire hazard conditions in the west to rebound quite quickly once it dries out and the winds pick up and you see those fine fuels in the forest become receptive to fire again. So this is very much a short-term reprieve of our situation in the western part of the region.
About 100 fire crews are responding to the blazes around the Northwest at this time. Marchand says they're grateful for the assistance they've seen from Mexico, Wisconsin, and the Atlantic provinces, but this year can't be compared to previous.
We've seen 706 fires in the West to date in the 2021 season. The 10-year average is about 491. So we're well above that. Last year at this time, we'd seen 427 fires.
This is a crisis and it needs the attention it deserves.
The NDP's Judith Monteith Farrell and Saul Mamakwa have called on the provincial government to declare a state of emergency over the growing number of wildfires in the Northwest, asking that Doug Ford visit Red Lake to see the devastation firsthand and offer additional support.
What we need is the ability to have more resources, financial obviously, but more planes, more firefighters deployed, more administrative people, because this requires a tremendous amount of logistics. And we really need the wraparound services for the 5 communities that have been evacuated.
The 2 MPPs also want more resources in place to assist the 5 communities currently evacuated and any more possibly to come. Corey Nordstrom, TBT News.
Liberal MPP Michael Gravel is expressing concern today that no firm timelines have been announced for several 4-laning projects included in the Northern Highways program, revealed yesterday by the Ford government. Gravel says it's encouraging to see highway twinning from Thunder Bay to Nipigon mentioned on the list of projects. The veteran politician has been pushing for the improvements since he was first elected in 1995, and he helped get about half the Highway 4-lane during his time as a Liberal cabinet minister. Gravel says he's pleased to see the province announced another 6.5-kilometer section near Coughlin Road for twinning by 2024. The other 2 sections, totaling 19 kilometers, are also included, but without completion dates.
While I was pleased to see some more projects on the books for 4-laning between Thunder Bay and Nipigon, I was a little concerned that there were no confirmed completion dates for some of those projects. So we want to see this move ahead. It's incredibly important from a safety point of view, from an economic point of view. Again, a project I think it means a lot to all of us in the Thunder Bay district, and I certainly want to continue to press Minister Rickford to move forward.
Northern Development Minister Greg Rickford wasn't available for an interview about the highway projects. Gravel says if all 3 sections included in the provincial update do get contract approval, the Highway 4-laning between Thunder Bay and Nipigon will be about 80% complete. $1.7 million is being provided by the Ford government to 85 businesses across Ontario's 2 northernmost ridings of Kiiwetinoong and Mushkegowuk-James Bay. The funding, which comes through the Northern Ontario Recovery Program, was announced today during a media event with Minister Greg Rickford and a number of recipients.
What our funding proposal was a social distancing deck, 2 tiers on the lake side. It's going to allow us to use a separate dock to, instead of the one dock, to load and unload passengers and keep them apart.
We were able to use that grant money now to turn a one room cabin where we added bedrooms, we added a 20 by 20 deck on the front, a 20 by 10 dock. So when the plane comes in, there is space for everybody.
Being in this region where a planned focus plate is not necessarily the top of the list. So we had a number of challenges, but in terms of the COVID pandemic, how it affected our business.
The province's Special Investigations Unit has launched a probe into the death of a man 11 years ago after an encounter with Thunder Bay Police. The SIU says the decision was made following receipt of information from the City Police Service earlier this week. According to the SIU, officers were called to the Royal Edward Arms on South May Street just before 2 a.m. on April 1st, 2010. They removed a 50-year-old man from the building. He was then left outside on the street and the officers left. About 25 minutes later, another patrol vehicle was flagged down and made aware of a man in medical distress on the ground. The man was transported to the regional hospital where he was pronounced dead shortly thereafter. The SIU says it has assigned 2 investigators to the case and they're appealing for witnesses or anyone who may have video of the incident to contact them. The debate continues to rage over whether Ontario should issue vaccination passports, and a new suggestion has been made that may address the concerns. Members of Ontario's Science Advisory Table have proposed a vaccination certificate to be issued instead to those who are fully vaccinated. Colin DeMello has more on that.
The contentious debate over vaccination passports is once again in the spotlight in Ontario after the province's Science Advisory Table said a proof of vaccination card could allow the Ford government to relax COVID-19 restrictions even faster.
I think a gym is a really good example of a high-risk setting where people are breathing, it's close contact, it tends to be a closed setting, it may not be well ventilated. If all the individuals have to quickly show a proof of vaccination within that setting and do so in a way that's standardized, then it can ensure that everyone in that setting is at lower risk.
Vaccine IDs are being implemented in other parts of the country. Quebec will use the passport to limit access for the unvaccinated if cases begin to rise in the fall.
Their statement is, we're not going to shut down the economy again. We're not going to do this, and this is a way to avoid that. I mean, it's hard to argue with that.
While the Ford government is working with the federal government on a national vaccine passport for travel, the premier rejected the idea of a provincial pass.
The answer is no. We aren't going to do it. We aren't going to have a split society.
Reflecting the divide over the issue.
As far as doing things like gyms, restaurants, and these businesses, small businesses that want to make a passport, I feel like it's just going to divide people more.
If it's between locking down again and having vaccine passports, I'd much rather be able to keep going to the gym, go to movie theaters.
Still, a certain segment of the population has been reluctant to receive the COVID-19 vaccine. Nearly 20% of eligible adults have yet to sign up for a single dose, leading some public health units to hold focus groups to understand why.
Those that have not received immunization so far cite concerns perhaps that their parents have raised about this being new and preferring to wait and see before proceeding with the immunization.
The Science Table argues vaccine certificates could be used as an incentive and also as a way to control the spread of COVID-19 if the Delta variant triggers a fourth wave.
We might need to have something in our back pockets. Vaccine certificates are something that could help us to keep open if things get worse again.
Arguing it's only a matter of time before the passport becomes a necessity.
The federal Conservatives in Thunder Bay Superior North have chosen their candidate to take on Liberal MP Patty Hajdu in the next election, whenever it's held. Joshua Taylor has been tagged by riding executives to carry the party banner for Erin O'Toole's Conservatives. Taylor grew up in Geraldton and has an undergraduate degree in criminology and a master's in kinesiology. He's worked for several Indigenous agencies in the region and is currently involved in reducing tobacco use among youth for the Thunder Bay District Health Unit. Taylor was not available for an interview today. The Thunder Bay Art Gallery is finally open to the public after being closed for more than a year. The gallery is back to its regular operating hours and hosting 2 guest-curated exhibits for the public to view. Mitchell Ringos has the story.
One of the new art exhibits on display is Dako Binawaswin, which translates to baby in a cradle board. It includes more than 100 cradle boards from across North America. The piece was curated by Caitlin Bird and hopes to showcase the legacy and beauty of traditional baby carriers, toy cradles, and baskets, which viewed together showcases a beautiful expression of love for children for the coming generation. The other indoor exhibit is called Pitwaywatum, also known as Making in Medicine, which shares beadwork and handmade items created by the Gustafson family to honor their late son Jesse, who is called Pitwaywatum. The piece hopes to show the deep lesson that creation helps with the process of grief and loss. Curator for Pitwaywatum exhibit Leanne Marshall says it's exciting to have both these exhibits shown all summer.
We had, it was opened up in February before the second lockdown, and so it was open for the weekend, and then it closed down. So we've just been patiently waiting for the government to reopen these public and important spaces, and so yeah, we're really excited.
And with the gallery only opening for 2 days during all of lockdown, art gallery curator Penelope Smart is thrilled that the public can finally come see these exhibitions that have been patiently waiting for their moment in the spotlight.
We've been waiting for this all summer, all year, so we're thrilled. We're ready, we're ready for people to come in. The shows that we have up now, we've been just been waiting to open our doors for people to come see them. They're very special, very timely exhibitions, very special to us, and we've had them all to ourselves for about a year, and we're just so happy that we can open up again to our community and welcome everyone back safely.
And with the art gallery finally being open to the public, you can come see these two pieces until the fall, where they will then be switched out for 2 new exhibitions that will last the duration of the winter. Mitchell Ringos, TBT News.
Thunder Bay residents came out in great numbers today for a fundraising barbecue outside the Regional Food Bank. The event was put on by the local United Way alongside the RFDA and the Dewdrop Inn. The proceeds will go to help those in our community who need food and financial support. Kurt Black has more.
Down at the Patterson Family Food Center, hungry folks from around the community enjoyed burgers and hot dogs while raising money for those less fortunate. It was a welcome sight for local United Way CEO, Albert Brule. He says for many people, their ability to help local charities was greatly impacted by the pandemic.
The challenges have simply been elevated. And it's a bit of a double whammy because you have the need increasing at a time when many charities have had challenges with not being able to do their regular fundraising events, and people maybe being concerned about whether they're in a position to give if they don't know about their own personal financial security.
It's a feeling echoed by United Way volunteer Stephen Marguerite.
It's just so great to see the community coming together again. This is one of the first, sort of outdoor events where it's really getting people to volunteer and help out 3 amazing organizations in our community.
If you were unable to make it out to today's barbecue, do not fret, as the United Way will be hosting more fundraisers to help out those in need here in Thunder Bay in the coming weeks.
So for people who maybe missed out today, but they want to contribute, we're going to be doing another event with the proceeds from the Pay It Forward program to provide hot dogs, hamburgers, meals for kids and youth in need in the Ogden-Simpson area in the coming weeks. So any support that people can lend to that, they can visit the United Way website and look for the community barbecue event.
Kurt Black, TBT News.
Well, Fiona, for the majority of the city, they didn't see that rain that we were expecting today.